after you do like your 30th deal, like you have this little chip on your shoulder, this swagger, this confidence that you're like, I'm a real, like, what you're doing. Sometimes that's not always the best thing because then the world has a way of like taking you down a peg or two.
Welcome back, my friends, to the RE Junkies podcast. We're here again with JP. He has agreed to stick around for a few minutes and do a bonus episode with us. For those of you who are just tuning in and don't know what these bonus episodes are, we're going to go deep dive into a specific time in JP's career. Now, on this bonus episode, we give the guests 3 prompts. Now, JP, you can pick one of these 3. The first one is, what was the hardest deal or a horror story that you've got in your real estate career? The second option is, what was your most successful deal in real estate? And your final option is, what's the craziest story that you have in real estate? JP, which one are you picking?
Oh, I love the bonus episode. This is really cool. I'm going to go with crazy and like crazy good.
All right.
Okay,
Let's
we
get
like
into
crazy
it.
good.
All right, awesome. So started my real estate business 2016, full-time military, was working part-time in my real estate business, right? Part-time. And was able to actually build my business over those first 2 years. I was able to build it up to about 10 team members, and we were doing about 20 flips a year. So things were really moving. Like momentum was like crazy, like allowing us to really build and scale. And what ended up happening to us was, after you do like your 30th deal, like you have this little chip on your shoulder, this swagger, this confidence that you're like, I'm a real, like, what you're doing. Right. And so sometimes that's not always the best thing because then the world has a way of like taking you down a peg or two. And what ended up happening was we were feeding this machine of this real estate investing company, and we were just trying to, like, we couldn't get enough deals, right? Not that there weren't enough to be had. It was just like we wanted more. We wanted to grow and scale. Our goal that year was 50 flips. And so we ended up looking at different markets. And what we ended up finding was this market like right outside of like our main market. It was just like literally like a 15-minute drive. It was this pocket where we were like doing some due diligence, and we're like, oh, okay, it looks like this may be something. We started to talk to the real estate agents and like looking at previous flips and stuff. And it was like, oh, dang, like this is a really nice market. So we went in, we put in like 4 offers that month and got 2 of them. 4 offers and got 2 of them. Did it again the next month, got 2 more. Did it again the next month, got 2 more. We ended up with 6 projects in this little town of Newfield, New Jersey. And it was like after the 6th one, I was like, all right, something's not right here. Like, how are we winning these things so freaking easily? I was like, we need to figure out what's going on, right?
Yeah, what am I missing?
Oh yeah, something wasn't right. Like, I've been in real estate long enough to know, like, it's not that freaking easy to be able to get, that many deals in a brand new market, break in a market, get that many deals right off the MLS. And so after we slowed down enough, which is a theme, right? After we slowed down enough, we ended up talking to a lot of the people that weren't selling us on coming into the market, and some people that like just knew what was going on in the town. Well, what ended up happening is they were shutting down all of the city, like the government buildings. The police department was getting moved. And so it's like everything that was supporting that city was shutting down and moving out to the county level. And so what ended up happening is, so did all the income, so did everything else. And so we ended up getting stuck with these 6 flips that we couldn't sell. Nobody was buying. Like, the market went completely flat. And so it was like, oh, all right, what do we do now? Because we had hundreds of thousands of dollars of private money lenders' money tied up in this, and we couldn't sell the properties. And so I was like, all right, well, we've never done rentals. Let's just take a look and see if, we can do anything on a rental side. Dude, it was absolutely crazy. Like, we had the best rental market underneath our nose the entire time we were doing this, and we didn't even know. We were so focused on wholesales and flips that we didn't even know how good the rental market was. And so once we looked at it, it was like it was almost like a 2%. Like we were buying it
Wow.
for 100,000 and we could almost rent it out for $2,000 a month. It was
No
crazy,
way.
dude. So
Wow.
here we are with this like we essentially lost $250,000, because that was the profit that we were looking to make. And we ended up refinancing. We didn't get any profit. We actually had to bring money to the table. So we lost a couple $100,000. But what ended up happening, and this is the craziest part, it was just like that was the kickstart to our rental portfolio in that area. And from that moment to 9 months afterwards, we added 48 doors to our
Wow.
rental portfolio in 9 months, just using the same systems that we were using to pick up flips. We were like, all right, well, if we're just doing a rental rehab, then we can do the same 70% formula, Mayo formula, max allowable offer. We can do the same formula and have a smaller rehab budget, which will allow us to offer more. Dude, we were killing it. We were picking up 4 or 5 a month because we were going against
Holy
rehabbers.
shit.
Dude, I know. I was like, so, but again, like you get pitched this idea from, when, you first start, it's like you have to wholesale to get enough money to rehab and then take the profits and go get a rental. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, why don't you just like shortcut all that and just go straight to the rentals, which is
Right.
what ended up happening. And so, dude, it was freaking phenomenal. We again grew our rental portfolio to 48 doors in 9 months. We added 4 different property managers. We ended up refinancing 22 of them into like a $1.9 million loan with Lima. It was crazy, dude. Like,
Wow.
so, and it's like the underlying story of my life is like when I think that I'm getting kicked in the junk and like I'm down and out, it's like, oh, wait, but here you go. Now you can have a rental portfolio. Right. And so, man, I was just at the time, it didn't feel good. Like what I was going to do to call these lenders to tell them that I couldn't turn their money back or give them their money back. And then to turn it into what we did was like, it was super special, dude.
I love
That's
that.
so
I
cool.
love that. So slow down. And so did you end with 48 rentals, or how many rentals do you own in that area now?
Yeah. So this was all in New Jersey. By the way, New Jersey is a terrible state to be a landlord. It is so tenant friendly. It's not even
Yes.
funny. Well, COVID hit, right? So that was
Yep.
2018 going into 2019, and then COVID hit. We had a $18,000 mortgage payment due every month, and more than half of our portfolio decided to stop paying. And so, we had to use the other half of the portfolio to actually make payments onto the
Sure.
mortgage and stay current. Which even then, like on all of them, we weren't able to stay current. So that was like we stopped growing. We ended up like about I think we ended up with 52 doors is what we ended up having. So it was like a 13 unit apartment complex, a 6 unit apartment complex, and then a couple of duplexes and some single family homes. So it was a good mix of the types of properties. And I actually like turned that like I was me and 2 other guys that were building this portfolio together, and I had a deal previously that I was still owing money on. So I basically pushed all my chips in. Like I said, here, take my third of the company, give me all the money that I need. So that way I can pay off this debt that was still over here from a bad flip. And so I just turned that into like, now I'm like financially free from, all of those debts
A clean
that were,
slate. Yeah.
that's right, dude. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I got out of New Jersey, which was like per- perfect.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. That's I forgot about how tenant friendly New Jersey is, and
Oh,
some
it's
of those states. I
terrible. It's
mean,
terrible. Like the governor, what he did with allowed the tenants to do, and like it was just terrible. I could go on forever about how they screwed us over as landlords.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Um okay, so you get all those up now, and you completely walked away from all of those rentals. Do your partners still own any of those?
Yeah, they still own all of them, and they're
Still own
actually
them.
doing pretty well with them. I mean, they actually they just refinanced from a 7% loan down to a 4% loan. So, I mean, they're killing it. And of course, the rents
Nice.
have just gone through the roof as
Oh
well,
yeah.
right? So, like our 3-bedroom, 1 bath was renting for I think it was 1,600. It now rents for 22 in less than 2 years, and so it's like you know what I mean? Like if the numbers made sense then, like now they're killing it. So, and I'm so
Right.
happy for them too, man. Like it's they put there was a lot of hard work that went into building that portfolio, so they definitely deserve it.
Good. Good. I love that. Wonder if you could share with us and with our listeners some of the things that you noticed in that market or in that pocket that one started to pique your attention or pique your interest about entering into that market. And then number two, some of the things you noticed in your due diligence that finally you were like, oh, now this is like this opened my eyes to the rental. Like for the very specific tactical stuff.
Yeah, so like entering the rental market or entering the market where we fell flat.
The market you fell flat first.
Yeah, so I think it was like again, we were just looking to expand and we were seeing comps in an area where like the purchase and the sale price were amazing compared to like the gap there was like, okay, this looks like a good market where people, the velocity of homes, like stuff was coming up, it wasn't staying on the market for super long, and then it was being sold for at asking or better. And so it's like all of the market research when you're looking to get into a market looked really, really good. Now, what we did not realize, and this is kind of what we've added to the list of things that we're going to do whenever we look to get into a new market, what we didn't realize was like how corrupt the local government was, how corrupt like all of the people, like all these people were in on getting all their money out as things were shutting down, right? So, the sales, like I think there was we identified a handful of properties that actually didn't even sell for what it was being sold as on the MLS because they were creating these fake comps so that way they could sell these properties to be able to get like that's how corrupt it was.
Oh
Like
my
that's like as
god.
people were going out, like they were creating these opportunities for everyone to pull their money out. And here we are coming in. We're like, oh my gosh, what an amazing market, right? And
Yep.
so it's like our money is the money that they use to get out. And so so,
Dude, it's like
you
a
know,
Ponzi scheme.
dude, it was, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Like,
I had nights where I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about this. I'm like, how did this happen? You know, 2 years of experience doing all these deals. Like, how could this happen? And what so now what we do instead is we go down, we talk to the zoning and the planning and all of the officials in the department, which is something that was taught to us but we never implemented. And it's one of those things that was like, okay, dude, this is like, how many times has this happened to you guys? You're like, oh, that's a really cool technique to do and I'll do that later, right? It's like they
oh yeah.
told me to do it, I didn't do it, I said
Mhm.
I'd get to it later, and then it ended up biting me in the butt, right? And so it's just one of those things. I should have listened to my coaches when they told me to do that, and now we do. So now we go down, we do way more due diligence beyond what we see on the MLS, beyond like what's on the internet. We actually go down and we visit offices and we talk to people.
That's awesome. That's
Well, that's a
awesome.
great learning lesson. And I think too, this really just speaks to who you are as a person because, we could have given this same prompt, same story to another podcast guest, and they would have maybe picked the prompt that was like, the hardest deal or something like that. But you're just so optimistic and you're a problem solver. So you said, okay, this situation sucks, but here's how we actually made it a win for us. Whereas someone else could have literally reframed that into a completely different story. So, um, I think that doing your due diligence is so important and also just figuring out how to solve the problem and take action and not just kind of sit in the woe is me is so important.
Yeah. Thanks, Kaiten.
You're welcome.
And that's one of the reasons we started this podcast too, is because we don't want the fluff, the bullshit, the furu crap of like get into
The
real estate and
guru.
it's so freaking easy. You can just, you could just clap your hands 3 times and you've got a rental portfolio of 100 doors, and then all of a sudden you're making, X amount per month. No, real estate is tough, and you're going to get your teeth kicked in more than
Yeah.
once,
Yep.
and you're going to hit sleepless nights, and you're going to hit points where you're like, what the hell did I do? What did I get myself into? And then you gotta fight and figure your way out of it. And the only way you do that is by moving forward and problem solving. Um, Last question for you on this deal. The To me, if all like if the city police and the city government and all of those buildings, or those employers were moving out, um now fast forward, that was 18, fast forward 4 years, like, what is left there that is stable enough to still, like, have the town, the renters that can now afford all of these, price increases? Obviously, they're not government jobs, so that I'm sure they're not qualifying necessarily for, um as nice of mortgages as the previous owners were, but like, what's still going on in the town? What and has any of the corruption been uncovered and come out at all? Or
That's a great question that I wish I cared about. I really don't. Like, I liquidated my position in that portfolio,
Jeez.
along with my interest in that area. However, this is what I will say: is that there is a huge housing shortage in South Jersey, especially rentals that are actually livable. I'll just say livable, because there's a lot
Livable.
of really, really rundown places where people are living, and they're just like, it's not, it's not, no human should be living in a lot of these places that these landlords are renting out. And so, when you put something on the market that's actually like, it looks, I mean, we just flipped it, right? Even though it's a rental flip, there, everyone's just like lining up. We'd had 50 applicants lining up, and they would be coming from,
Jeez.
like 20 to 30 miles around. They would be coming because they're like, there's just no quality rentals to rent. And so it's like, just the demand is what brought them there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, South Jersey was an amazing rental market.
I was gonna say, I mean, you crushed it. Like, I know that. I remember when you were in that market, like, you were crushing it. So the I mean, for me, the message, the takeaway there is just very simple. Real estate investing is still just the same as entrepreneurship. You've got to look at your market, you've got to find a problem, and you've got to solve it.
Yep,
And it's
100%.
different. It's different in every single area. You mentioned Airbnbs now for you in Florida. We could go on and on and on, but it's different in every single area. So
Yeah, and here's the one thing that I just, like, you said something that made me think of just like the mindset of a real estate investor that's extremely important to understand is like, I think a lot of people think like it's like you said, like you clap your hands 3 times and you get rich. While that is definitely not true, what is also not true is like it's not a get rich overnight. Like, and it's so much of a marathon, right? Again, all these stupid cliches, but it's like they're so true, right? Like, it's not a sprint in real estate investing, it's a marathon. And so it's like, as you're gonna hit roadblocks, you're gonna hit bad deals. And it's about being a problem solver, getting through that, and growing as a result of it. So that way, I mean, look at like Warren Buffett. Like, how long has this dude been a real estate investor? Like 80 years or something? You know what I mean? Like, I'm
since
sure
he
this.
came out the womb.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he's seen his fair share of bad deals, bad markets, bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you have to have grit, you have to be tenacious, and then you just have to be able to like withstand, and understand that your goal is not this year, it's not next year, it's 5 to 10 years from now, and that there's gonna be some road bumps on the way, speed bumps
Yes.
in the road.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
if you do honest and good work, you're always going to come out on top of the people who are being shitty, for lack of better words.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I picture it. You mentioned, it being a marathon. I picture it like the Tour de France. Because it's so different. Like a marathon, you just get up and you just run, right? You just running the course. But every year could be different stage of the Tour de France. That could be a monthly change. One month could literally be rolling along like you're just on the road, the city section, and then the next month could literally feel like you're climbing the top of the Alps. Like, and I don't even know if the Tour de France goes through the Alps now that I just said that. So I could be corrected in the show notes or the comments. I could be an idiot.
I
but,
hope you are.
Are you just saying that because I look like Lance Armstrong? Is that why you brought up Tour de France? No, I'm
oh
joking.
shit, no, but maybe.
No,
Maybe
I'm
my
joking.
unconscious
I've
thought
heard
that.
George St. Pierre. I look like George St. Pierre or Bruce Willis is what I get a lot. I never the Tour de France guy.
Lance, no. I don't know if I could see Bruce Willis, yeah, and I could definitely see George St. Pierre.
It's the bald head. It's the bald
It is
head
the
that
bald
does the
head.
Bruce Willis thing, I think.
It is the bald head. When are you gonna let your hair grow back?
Bro, there's no way. All
doesn't.
right, I'll tell you, the only thing that grows on my head is the bozo. Like, you remember Bozo the clown, like
Mhm,
on the
mhm,
side? That's
mhm.
all I can grow, dude. All this is gone.
Oh, dude,
Believe me, I would love nothing more than to be able to like fix and stroke my hair as often as you do. Like, I look at that and I'm like, man, that guy's living a good life there. I want to do that.
It's like my tick. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
don't
was
know
just
what-
about to say that's Brooks's little tick.
And I'm sure there's probably so much product in there that it's probably not even moving when you do that anyways.
It does move. Like, I can definitely see the difference. Like, okay, you see those hairs over here that just got out of place? Yep,
Oh,
now
I
gotta
do.
now I gotta go push them back down and just,
Oh my
weave them
gosh.
back in.
Like a
weave 'em back
digital
into the fold,
avatar.
right? Yeah, seriously. What I was just gonna say, and then all right, we'll wrap this bonus episode up because we're way off topic now. That's my favorite hairstyle is what you just described, because in 8th grade I had a math teacher, same hairstyle, could completely bald up top, shiny as all get out, and then the sides like Bozo the clown. And so we used to joke with him. I called him cul-de-sac, and
Cul-de-sac. I've never heard that.
I used to joke with my friends that, like, I played football and basketball over on this side of the cul-de-sac, and I would point to like one of the sides of his head. Luckily, he was cool about it. I should have probably been like suspended at some point that year just for all the jokes we had about him. But that's the cul-de-sac, man.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to share that with my family.
JP can only grow a cul-de-sac, and
I've only got the cul-de-sac. But you know what? I rock the best cul-de-sac on the planet.
All right.
I hope that came out the way that I meant it.
We'll see.
I think so. We'll check that in editing. All right, JP, thanks again for coming on this morning. And thank you again for everyone listening at home, tuning into this bonus episode. If you missed or have not listened to JP's full episode yet, it should be the episode right next to this one on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. And JP and Kaiten and I broke down JP's journey into entrepreneurship after leaving the military, his transition, and how that worked. We broke down his need to open many, many businesses and continue to run them, and also his skill set to open businesses that are already outsourced and automated so that it takes very little, if any, of his time to run the day-to-day operations of each business, and he adds a stream of revenue just like that. So check that episode out. And JP dropped a lot of gold in there. We talked about some mindset and performance as well. And then check the show notes for links into JP's social media profile for those of you real estate investors looking to get your first deal, or real estate investors who have hit a low point and need to get over the hump. Check out JP on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. That's at jpkilduff.me. And he's dropping gold in there every single day. JP, we're going to have you on again and catch up. I appreciate the time this morning, and thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys have been great. I laughed a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, JP.
I love it. Thanks, JP. We'll talk soon.